Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I want to talk about Google ranking web pages versus ranking websites. And there's two sources that inspired me to make this video today. Now, recently, at the end of January 2021, Search Engine Journal published an article saying that Google ranks web pages instead of websites. And to some extent, that is true, but there's a little more nuance to that. Now, every Friday, noted SEO consultant Victor Pan does a short tweet thread on a selected SEO topic. Now, that Friday, he talked about the nuance that is involved in web pages versus websites when it comes to ranking. Now, I can tell you from my own experiences in helping clients, if you have the right content and the right elements on a page, then it's more likely to rank higher. But something that Victor said that I found very interesting was talking about the nuance of the history of a website and how that might play into the likelihood of a page ranking high. And one of the things that he pointed to was if a website had a history of selling links or getting a manual Google penalty, then the likelihood that even if the content on their page was good, the likelihood that it would rank high would be less. And in the same fashion, the same thing goes for sites that have a track record of producing good content and satisfying users' searches. The likelihood that those sites will have content that ranks right off the bat is very high. And the reason being is it has a track record, that site has a track record of producing content that satisfies users' searches in that topic. So one thing to think about is SEO is both a long-term and a short-term game where you want to produce the best content possible, but it's going to amplify your efforts if your site has a long track record of producing content that satisfies users' searches. Another thing that Victor Pan put forth in this tweet thread, which I will link this tweet thread in the video description below, but one thing that he said is there's another thing that might be a predictor of whether a site should rank or a certain page on a website should rank, and that is the web core vitals, core web vitals that are rolling out to all sites as a ranking factor this spring of 2021. Google's already pre-announced this. They have things that you can look at on page speed insights and measure your own site. But if a site has a whole bunch of pages that seem to have a good core web vitals score, which is basically page speed, page loading time, and a low cumulative layout shift, which we'll link that up again. We had a video on that. But basically, if a site has these elements, it could also be used as a proxy for site quality, and those sites might get a boost in rankings. At least that's what Google is implying is going to happen this spring. So all these things work together. Yes, you must have the right information to satisfy searchers, and Google, again, records that knowledge and that history of whether a page satisfies users or whether a site has a long track record of having pages that satisfy user searches through their collection of user data. Also, the website as a whole has an impact on that. Does it have a good reputation? So to sum up, Google probably does use predictive models to tell whether a particular page, new web page, should rank high based on things like the history of the site and the overall perception of the site, not just domain authority, not just a backlink profile, but the overall history, and core web vitals might be another signal. They've pretty much confirmed that that is going to be a signal. They've given us advance warnings, so don't know how strong of a signal that will be. I think you still have to have the content right. Your site itself has to have a long track record of quality and making searchers happy. These are all things to consider when talking about your website strategy and your content strategy. My name is John Locke. My business is Lockedown Design and SEO, based right here in Sacramento. I make videos as often as I can. It's usually a few times a week. I would love to see you subscribe, give this a thumb up. Hey, we have gotten over the 1,000 subscriber mark, so that's awesome. And I want to say thank you to everybody that has supported us over the last several years. That's all I have for now. I'll be back soon with another video on SEO, and until next time, peace.